folks, the king of all miners is back, and yes, I'm talking about the version 3 of Baked Beans. The original team of Baked Beans now launched their third version, which is now already sitting at a contract balance of roughly 1.1k. And this is just live for around 3 days, and I'm gonna give you a history lesson on what happened in 2022 with Baked Beans, with all the other miner contracts, and what I think will happen over here, because history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So let's get right into today's topic. If you have never heard about Baked Beans, man, you probably live under a rock. This was the biggest project regarding total value locked in the high ROI depth season in 2022. A lot of people made huge amounts of money, and of course a lot of people lost huge amounts of money. Because what this in the end is, it's a smart contract which is immutable, and you deposit BNB into it, then you get beans in return, which earn you a 8% variable return on a daily basis, depends on your actions. And as long as new deposits come in and there are funds in the contract balance, everything is good. But as soon as people start to withdraw, more than funds get deposited, this thing will go to zero. And that's exactly what happened with the first two versions of Baked Beans. We can take a look at the current one, which is a great chart here, of course, which is blowing up since 2 days now. It's pulling a lot of funds and a lot of attention because people, of course, know what happened with this in 2022. So let's take a look at the contract in 2022, the first version of Baked Beans. This went to a highest BNB balance of roughly 36k, which had an US dollar value at that time of roughly 15 million US dollars. And this chart, of course, looks crazy, but if we zoom in here in the beginning stages of Baked Beans, you can see they also had a first initial cycle, then the contract balance decreased, and then it pumped like crazy at the end of the bull run in 2021, when the altcoin season started and we had this huge NFT hype. And then a lot of people started talking about this. I saw 10, 20 videos about Baked Beans on my daily timeline. That's why a lot of whales, a lot of retail people jumped in here. And of course, at some point, like it always is, such projects crash, because if they only rely on new deposits, it can't be sustainable in the long run. Same thing, for example, happened with their version 2, which was another concept. This was forked from Frost Flakes. They also had an initial growth cycle, and in the end, it also went to zero even faster than the first one. And what exactly happened at that time when Baked Beans version 1 crashed was there were a lot of new miner projects, which I, for example, also covered on my German YouTube channel. So I covered Baked Beans, I covered RubyMine, Cooked Rice, all of the other ones. The guys of you who have been around at that time should have heard about all of them. We even had pages like MoonArk, so they basically displayed the total value locked, if the contract is safe, how high the fees are, and so on. You could see everything over here, and this page was used by all the degens out there. The liquidity went to all these forks, to all these copycats, but mainly it went to the original miner, the BNB miner, a project I covered already a lot of times here on my channel. It is this one which is already running for over 1.1k days. And this is the original project where Baked Beans version 1 has been forked from. So I'm covering this now since I got into that in the beginning of May of 2022. And the crazy thing is, it's still there. It still has a contract balance. We had 2 cycles. One when the bull run happened, one after Baked Beans strained, and from there we had a decreasing contract balance until today, but we are still sitting at 155 BNB. And why I'm showing you this is because I think Baked Beans will be the catalyst for another miner cycle. We see big YouTubers already talking about Baked Beans, here in this case Crypto Gains, with almost 130k followers on YouTube. He already covered Baked Beans in 2 videos. And just listen what he says in one of those videos regarding all the other miner projects.
So I just wanted to share it to you again, and it's probably likely you're going to start seeing RubyMine reloaded, because it's called Baked Beans Reloaded. It's probably likely you might see other miners come back to life again and just, bring some excitement into the space. So this is...
So he also believes that other miners will come to life again. And logically, which miner do you think will profit most from it? Yeah, I think it will be the BNB miner, because this is the original product. They also have a new game coming in the upcoming days, which is called BNB Miner FOMO. And all of this will lead to an increasing contract balance in the BNB miner and also new products. I can show you also the statistics over here if we jump back to the contract balance of Baked Beans version 1. So this was decreasing in the second half of April into May, and then on and on and on. But let's check what happened in the BNB miner at that time. This was pulling all the liquidity. So it started here at the second half in April and then into May and June. This pulled all the liquidity from baked beans into its smart contract because people realized, okay, that's the sustainable one, that's the original one, and people moved over, took their funds and all their profits from baked beans and all the other forks and put it in here, what also led to a contract balance here in the peak of roughly 12,000 BNB. So this was already in May, June 2022 when a lot of people started leaving the space and were just done with the market. And now, since 1.5 years, this thing is preparing for its next cycle, which will definitely come at some point, and baked beans, I'm pretty sure, will be the catalyst for all of this. So a lot of people have asked me along the way, once I recorded all these videos, if it's now the time to get in to prepare for a third cycle. And I can say with a lot of confidence right now that I think now is definitely a good time to position yourself in the OG miner, the BNB miner here in this case, for another leg up once it starts pulling the liquidity from baked beans and all the other degens which are still around on the Binance Smart Chain. And I know the Binance Smart Chain has not played the biggest role in this current upcycle yet, but if we take a look at the rare numbers, you can see the Binance Smart Chain is still the third biggest chain with the third biggest total value lock and a lot of active users which are already used to the Binance Smart Chain. Most of the people out there have some BNB on their wallets, which they might want to gamble around with as soon as the time is here. So if you don't want to miss any updates on the BNB miner or baked beans, if the history really repeats and we go into another DeFi high ROI debt cycle, this is exactly the right channel for you. I will keep you covered in upcoming videos, so just click the subscribe button. If you like today's one, hit the like button as well, and then we will meet in the next one. See you then.